What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We're going to talk about some things, and at the end, I had an epiphany today that I want to share with y'all. Uh, Something that just struck me in the middle of the day, and it had me kind of entrenched in it throughout the entire day. A different viewpoint in life. It's kind of crazy. I'd rather share with you guys at the end. But for right now, we're going to start this out with showing you the commercial that was played during the Super Bowl. Mind you, I did not watch the Super Bowl. I know people hate me. I get it. I get it. I did not watch it, but I did see this video, this commercial from the Epstein survivors, some of them who did this commercial. And the audio, the little ticking noise, that was in the original commercial. I don't know who did the audio for that, but anyway, we're about to listen to that right now. Hey, Sunjun Park. Was it Sunjun Park? Sunju Park.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
And they do 100% deserve the truth. I want to start off with that because I really wanted to focus on people seeing what they put together. And I'm so happy they put it through the Super Bowl. Over 100 and something, almost 120, 130, something like that, million people saw, not to say they saw the commercial, but they saw at least the Super Bowl. They had a huge audience to see that. This is one of the things that, oddly enough, through pain, we almost always come together. 9/11, we came together. This right here is another traumatic situation that might be able to bring the country together on the same issue of solving this problem. Because I really want to get into this, that often we don't really think past the surface, right? What these girls went through, who are actually women now, is nothing new. Jeffrey Epstein didn't create this type of trade. In this country, we can go back to slavery and show you that. African, whom later became black in this country, women were done this way for centuries. I believe they called them fancy girls. The quote unquote hot African women that were sold, I guess, into this slavery sex trade where they would buy them just for the mere fact of having a toy to have sex with. Yeah. They did that to African women and men. We don't talk about it often because, again, it's an issue in any community often about men being abused, but it happened. And just like racism and systemic racism, we thought we beat it. At least a lot of America did, but black people knew we hadn't. It became systemic. It kind of gelled into everything. So on the surface, it looked like we were freed and everything was cool. But in black homes, in black lives, we knew it wasn't true. Even though we walked outside and acted like it was. We knew that we had to give our kids the talk still. It wasn't like it's over, right? But in the same parallel, but not, I say this egregious, I'm just saying the same parallel is that people started to think that this wasn't happening to white people. See, those in power did this to all people. It just happened to be that the majority of the people in power in this country were white men. So as we focused on the black community getting killed out in the streets and made them the focus, young white people, Latin people were being sold into this trade. Can you imagine how many white children that were snatched and we thought they were taken because, somebody just kidnapped them or whatever? Can you imagine that these were our leaders who were selling them into sex trades? People who were right next to the president, people who were donating millions to the president and the senators and all that. These people this entire time have been snatching up these kids. As you read these Epstein documents, you start to hear some of the most gruesome shit. I look at it and I'm like, okay, we talk about it like in numbers, it's just out there. I've heard so many people, no disrespect to Aaron Parnas or other people who are out here doing the work, but it becomes so like, how can I say, flatline. It's not really, it's just, here's the information. How do you feel about it? Follow me and go to my Substack. We don't take the time to really kind of focus on the fact that how do we see it from that child's perspective? It's more gruesome this way. It's not on the surface. We dig a little deeper. When you see in these Epstein files someone say, and they shouldn't be redacted, but they are, a Brazilian 9-year-old, and they attach sexual connotations to that child. 9. Do you understand a child 9 years old was being sexualized in an email? Can you imagine the fear in that child? The hell that child had to go through. And we talk about it like, oh, it's just a 9-year-old. I don't know how to draw emotion out of people when you hear a baby going through grown ass shit and forced and treated like an animal, like something to trade, like a sports card or some shit like that. In the year 2000s, not 1860, like you can't really fathom it in 1690, but to think about it, that we done came far, we believe, beyond those animals, that our cultures have transcended. But in all honesty, it has not. This is where the actual pure definition of cognitive dissonance comes into play. I don't know if people actually understand like the definition of like cognitive dissonance. Not even the definition, it's just the understanding that you have a set way of thinking. I believe I'm law abiding. I believe I'm not a, pedophile. I believe all these things. I can't stand this. I can't stand that. I will not accept this. But that's your reality. And that's what you believe. But then you hear someone you love or care about is one of these things. It fucks with your reality. And which one do you choose? Do you choose the truth where it tears you the fuck down? Or do you stay over here in your cognitive dissonance, your idea of, I associate with that person. I can't come to believe that that's true, because if I do, then I too feel like I'm a monster. So you disconnect from fact and you only fuck with your feelings. fact is too hard to accept, so you make your feelings fact because you can't accept that you were a part of, you were a supporter of. And it's crazy because by doing that and distancing yourself from reality and staying within this fake reality, you continue to perpetrate the reality that you're trying to run from. It's fucking crazy. But that's what this is. These people are attached to an ideology that they're afraid to admit is real. Because if they do, what kind of person are they? They don't want to face in the mirror that they're in love with pedophiles. So they choose to say that they're not. You're the crazy one, even though there's so much information that should at least require an investigation. But they can't accept that because they have hitched their wagon to the wrong truth and they can't let go of it because it says more about them if they face reality. Their reality has got to take precedence because they can't face it. We have been fighting the truth with people who can't accept it. Therefore, they create an entire new world of alternative facts. In this world, I don't have to face how demonic I'm really acting. I don't have to face that I'm sitting here letting these people go who could have easily have snatched my child up. But because it hasn't touched me fully, I can't fathom it. I've never thought that this would be a reality with people. I had that epiphany today. I've heard it, cognitive dissonance, but I never delved into it to get a better understanding of how these people are reacting. I know there's some evil people out there. Don't get me wrong, there's evil. I'm talking about people who genuinely think they're not evil. And you're sitting here like, then how can you accept this evil as if it's normal? Or if it's right? Because just like anything else, we normalize so much. This country, I don't know about any other country because I'm not from there. We celebrate criminals. Yeah. Mafia movies, gang movies, drug movies. We spend billions of dollars a year to watch it, to draw it into our spirit, into our soul, and we see it in real life. Not to say that movies cause these people to do it. That's not my thought process. My thought process is because we don't put any weight that this shit is just horrifically wrong and go into movies, other people disconnect and do this for the fame of it. How many times have we heard people who have done egregious shit just so they can be on TV? Just so that even when they're in jail, they got whack-ass people going there saying, hey, I'm in love with Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm in love with this person. Because oddly enough, in the human brain, there's some fascination with it. And what these monsters are doing to these kids, it's in them already. It's just money and power has allowed them to get away with it. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Because all of this had to have people who were billionaires all the way down to broke people in on it. You can't tell me the security guards that were at this place watching it, sitting outside, did not know what's going on the inside. You can't tell me these people were serving their own fucking food. Billionaires, it had to have waiters and maids and all that. None of them said a fucking word. None of them. They're still not saying nothing. Our society, I'm telling you, we have some explaining to do when it comes to this demonic bullshit. We need an exorcism because this shit doesn't disappear until we put it in the light. And it's crazy how our government, no matter whom has been the president, no matter who's been the vice president, our government has not shed light on this shit. They had to have known it was out there. I'm not saying they knew the person or when it was happening. They didn't have no schedules or nothing like that. But they had to know this man was doing this shit. Do you think Epstein is the only one, though? Don't you understand? It's still going on. Jeffrey Epstein had homes in different locations throughout the United States and overseas. You think it stopped because he died? Billions of dollars being traded. And do you think these people who were buying 9-year-old Brazilian children have stopped because Epstein got caught? These people think they are above the law. I would not doubt they're doing it right now, this absolute second, in some of the same locations in which the FBI knows shit goes down. I would not doubt it. If your power goes unchecked, what's going to stop you? Even if they caught you, what are you going to do? These senators, these people who are sycophants for money and power are going to literally rat them out. If they were, it'd be already ratted out. These individuals are in these documents, and every last one of these people have not exposed their names yet. Don't miss. I'm like this. Look, it doesn't escape me that Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna saw names today, and they came out and said there are 6 people's names that probably shouldn't be redacted. They're not victims. So when asked on an MS Now show, Ro Khanna didn't expose the names. Well, excuse me. I know some people are going to say, well, maybe he can't do it. It's against the rules. No, the law was passed by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey that the only names that can be redacted are the victims or suspected victims. A man or woman asking for a Brazilian 9-year-old fucking child is not one of those. So their names can be exposed. Miss me with the bullshit. Those names, when he was asked, should have been exposed. Because by law, he could do it. And he didn't. I understand they wrote the law. I understand that they're fighting for the women. I understand they're at the forefront. But don't stop now, bro. Don't stop now. You don't went this far. Those names should have been exposed today. Because it is the law that they should be. Our government has broken the laws and not done so. So if you didn't expose it, why? That should be the question for all people who want these things exposed. Why didn't you guys expose it then? how are you going to be held to any account? Because the law literally says it was supposed to be done. And our government, under Donald Trump, and all the other Jeffrey Epstein's like partners and shit and friends in crime, chose not to do it. Cockeyed Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Donald Trump, all of them chose to hide it, but expose some of the victims. If anybody should be charged with anything, it's them for exposing the victims. But the crazy part about this is that when you guys made this bill, there was no attachment to breaking the law. Like there's no punishment for it. And they showed you that when they did not turn it in 30 days. They were like, what you gonna do about it? And the idea of Americans saying they just broke the law and just said people what they're gonna do about it. Cognitive dissonance. I roll with this team, so what if they break the law? Although I'm a law and order type of person, I'm supposed to be. It's crazy. Now, this is what Ro Khanna and Massey said at a press conference after they left. I think they were there for a few hours trying to find, I guess, the unredacted names, and saying that the computer system, I think they had like 4 computers for everybody to go through, and the system is harder to find the documents they need specifically. I would think that you've already gone through the documents with the redactions and figured out the ones that you really want to check, and all you need is that EFTA number, and you should have been able to plug that in, and it should have popped the fuck up. But I mean, excuse me for being a tech, but that should be that easy. But I don't understand how you have a computer. You act like the computer is like a DOS machine or some shit. Like it was hard to figure out because you had to write code to figure it out. I mean, like the EFTA number is about 10 digits at the most, maybe. I don't understand it. We can do it on our computer, but they put it on a different system so that you can. I don't know. I don't know. But they said this. But let's listen to what they had to say.
The user interface is a little clunky at first, but what I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files.
There's still a lot that's redacted. Even in what we're seeing redacted versions. I thought we were supposed to see the unredacted versions, and that's because the documents produced to justice from the FBI, from the grand jury, was redacted when they got it.
Now, I personally have questions about that response, but again, I just have questions. I'm not condemning anybody, but I'm just saying is if the document came from the courts redacted, which could have been, how do you know that? I mean, the documents were there. What labeled it that it was the original was that way, as opposed to what Donald Trump and his cronies did over since June or July of last year when they found out his name, or was it May or April, something like that. In the middle of last year, they found out that Donald Trump's name was all over it, and Pam Bondi, told by Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, that Donald Trump's name is in it. And by the way, Donald Trump's name is not just in this bitch. Donald Trump's name so far is 30-something thousand times mentioned. Not just a few. He is the most outside of Epstein that's mentioned that we know of. So how is it that you don't know, homie? You ain't that cool with him. You got amnesia about everything, Mr. Trump. But your ass is in him 30-something thousand times, which helps us understand a lot about how Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Howard Lutnick, Lord have mercy, how much he's in there. Oh, I just talked to him once. They found he's got over, I think they said 300 or close to 300 emails with Jeffrey Epstein. Most of them after the time in which he said he was gross and didn't ever go back to him. He literally was trying to go to the island. We don't know if he did or didn't. The documents haven't proven that just yet. But there's still 3 million more that they say they don't have to give away based on, Donald Trump's ex-lawyer, Todd Blanche. It's crazy. We're going through these files and Donald Trump sent them 30-something thousand times, yo. And there's an odd thing about this. When I say odd, I want you to understand that Donald Trump, we've always known, is a liar. I mean, just out. This is where, this is like I was saying with you guys, I found out the epiphany today, because my mind blows when people can't understand facts. Okay? It's just simple. Here it is. 1 + 1 is 2. And they're sitting here like it's 75. I'm like, hey, how do you get that? How do you get 75? Because 75 is attached to their belief system. They have to believe this in order. It's who they are. It's their makeup. It is their design. It's what they believe in. If you believe in Christianity, it's what you're made of. If you are Jehovah's Witness, it's what you're made of. If you associate with something that you have made it into somewhat of a cult, it's what you are made of. Donald Trump says 2 + 2 is 75. They have to associate with what they're made of, because disconnecting away from that, they're floating over here in reality land. They don't know how to cope. Because what does it say about me if I've been believing this bullshit and it's really this over here? The liberals are right. Oh my God, kill me. That's the way they feel. Again, feelings over facts, but it's the cognitive dissonance of it all. But Donald Trump knew this whole fucking time. If you ask me, because he was a part of it. There's too much documentation in these files. We had prior with Kate Johnson saying at 13 years old, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump raped her, and she goes through brutal details. I believe her. Why would I believe this old orange dude that lies all the time? I haven't caught her in a lie yet. She said it. A 14-year-old person said that he did it with Tiffany in the room. We find out in these documents that there is a Tiffany. I'm like, hello? So here we go again. There's a Tiffany. This person said it. It validates it. Donald Trump saying that he didn't do it. Where's the validation? Who says it didn't happen other than him? We got the girl and we got Tiffany, who would corroborate it. So how the fuck will we believe in Donald Trump? He has nobody corroborated he didn't or did do it on his side. She did. Donald Trump knew. And as we go back to 2025 and even further back, 2019 and so forth, Donald Trump was like acting like, I don't even know nothing about him. I don't know nothing about Jeffrey Epstein. He wasn't my friend. Then we find out he got pictures and all over the place. Okay, well, we were friends, but we were just, associates. We weren't friends. Then you get Jeffrey Epstein saying, it was my best friend for like 15 years or more. Okay, so I kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He's trying to take one of my girls. Take one of your girls? Did you own somebody? Because it does say in the documents that you guys literally own people. And boy, I'm going to tell y'all, some of the grossest shit that I done found in these documents, I truly believe you should go check them out, and some of the allegations that have been made. There's an allegation in there that Donald Trump really grabbed people by the pussies, but they were children too. Yeah. Allegations that they sold children, and the way they found out the price in which to pay to buy said children, it was mentioned his name. It wasn't Epstein's name mentioned on that. Donald Trump's name was mentioned, as in putting his finger inside them to measure the diameter, I guess, of it, and then determining a price to sell said child. And this is the man who says he grabs women by the pussy. And we're supposed to believe the opposite of what he actually said out of his own fucking mouth. But we didn't even know how even more worse it was. And think about Melania Trump was the person who came out and said, say his locker room talk. Evil bitch. She's in on it. Y'all know she is. You can't be next to this. You got through Donald Trump through Jeffrey Epstein, so you know she has to know. There's no way. Because you know why I know she had to know? Check this out. Check this shit out. Donald Trump in 2006, when Jeffrey Epstein was ready to go through trials and stuff like that, he went to jail, I believe, in 2006, 2008, somewhere around there. This is what Donald Trump said. This is Miami Herald got this. This is what Donald Trump said to an actual officer of the law. Yeah, this is what he said. Trump told Palm Beach police chief, everyone knew about Epstein. Maxwell was evil. In July 2006, see, in 2019, 2021, Donald Trump acted like he didn't know nobody. He didn't know Maxwell that well at all. I wish her well in prison. That's what he said. But he didn't know her. Wished her well, though. A pedophile, female, Jeffrey Epstein's sidekick. He wished her well. 2006, just as Jeffrey Epstein's criminal case became public, Trump called then Palm Beach police chief Michael Ryder to tell him that Epstein's activities with teenage girls were well known in both New York and Palm Beach. I thought you didn't know nothing, Donald Trump. I thought you didn't know nothing. I barely know Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, barely know her, although you're in pictures with her. You said you understood that he was with teenage girls. Donald Trump, you had said before that he likes young girls. And so do you. Some younger than you. What was your age? You wouldn't go down to like under teens. So he went to like 9 and 10. You was just 12, 13, 14. What where was the break off? Because he liked young girls, even babies. You cut off at what age, Donald Trump? Because you talked about your daughter like you would have had sex with her and that she was voluptuous when she was a child. Nobody calls a child voluptuous but a pedophile. I've never heard a man say that about his kid. Have you? He's been telling people this entire time. And the idea of cognitive dissonance. He can't be a pedophile because he's talking about it out loud. It can't happen. What? So all a pedophile has to do now is say, yeah, I'm with children, blah, blah, blah. What's the big deal? Didn't you guys catch, I don't know if you did or not, everybody was bitching, these racist people were bitching about, Bad Bunny. And he's like, go to an all-American halftime, right? And you went to the American halftime, and then you heard my man sing in his song, and he didn't sing it that night, but he got a Cool Daddy Cool saying, Kid Rock. He literally says, young ladies, I like them under age, see? Some call it statutory. I call it mandatory. That's the show they wanted you to turn to. The other pedophile song dude, who literally said in a song in the 90s, he's a fucking pedophile in the song, and he called it mandatory to be with children. Birds of a feather flock the fuck together. I'm just saying. Who let that pass? Because I got to tell you something again. Think. Don't just say, oh, it just, just one little lyric. No, fuck all that. Everybody knows what that song meant. He was fucking kids. And he said it was mandatory while he was on these tours. So a grown ass man and his little sidekick, who was a little dude, a grown man too, but little. That's who that was. Joe C saying, I call it mandatory. His voice was high. I kind of made him sound like Mickey Mouse or Minnie, whatever the fuck. You get my point. He wasn't a kid. Both these grown ass men were talking about that. And the record label heard it. You know how they try to, if any of y'all have been artists or any kind of, film, television, whatever, came up, or musician, you've come up with something and the record label would be like, nah, we can't do that one. Nope, can't do that. You got to revise this. Oh, you can't say this. Oh, don't do this. People won't like that. The record label, the artist who sang it, Joe C and Kid Rock, the people playing guitar and piano or whatever the fuck in the room listening to it all was cool with making money off a man literally saying in a song celebrating pedophilia. And that's the show they told them to go to that was all American. Hilarious. It's horrible and hilarious at the same time. That they were over there championing a pedophile like they are as a president. Cognitive fucking dissonance. We're for the law. We're against pedophilia. But wait a minute. We're supporting pedophiles. Again, I can't admit that because then that would make me seem bad. And I'm a good person. I believe in the law. I believe in going against pedophiles. I believe it. Really? Then how did you go watch Kid Rock? Just saying. In that, he said he knew. Now, that wasn't the only thing is, it continues. Thank goodness you're stopping him. That's what Donald Trump says. Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this, Trump told Reuters, according to a 2019 FBI interview. 2019, when he was president, he calls and says, everybody knows he's been doing this. Oh, they've been knowing he's been doing it? Well, Donald Trump, you've been knowing him the most, so you obviously know. If everybody knew, that meant you knew. You're part of everybody. And seeing how you was his homie, you probably knew before everybody else did. And he also said Lane Maxwell was evil, that she knew all about it. It's crazy how this man, when he was a president, calls a sheriff or whatever it is, whatever his position was, in Palm Beach, Florida. The president calls you. This man didn't just Ryder didn't get a call from just a regular person. He got called by the president of these United fucking States to say, everybody knew. It's glad you caught him. You're one of them, dipshit. But Donald Trump was probably, I guarantee you, he was trying to fill them out as to what information they had. So they could go toward him and not go toward Trump. Trump does nothing for no one but him. So the question is, him calling that dude was to verify and clarify that I have nothing to do with it. Keep looking at him, says the president. Goodbye. With that type of power and pressure, that officer knew not to fuck with Trump. Can't charge him anyway. I'm wondering, this information was 2019. What happened to the previous DOJ head under the Democrats who didn't investigate this shit? Merrick Garland, I mean, every day, I'm like, your ass need to be brought forth to the Congress as to why you did not follow through. Why you handed it over to somebody else. And Jack Smith, why did it take you so fucking long? Those are my questions. But that's how we know Donald Trump. We always knew, but that's how he's a liar. This man literally called a sheriff to tell him, or was he a sheriff? What was he? Palm Beach police chief, Michael Ryder. He called a police chief to tell him, hey, it's about time you caught him. Where were you at, Donald Trump, in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? Oh, wait a minute. You invited him to Mar-a-Lago in 2012, was it? After you said you got rid of him and didn't want to have anything to do with Mar-a-Lago in 2003 or 4. Because he stole your girls. Just the idea of him saying his girls being stolen should tell you that Donald Trump thought of these women as property. Cognitive dissonance. You've attached yourself to a pedophile and you can't believe it because what does it say about you that you're attached to a pedophile? It says you've condoned babies being hurt. It says that you condone the stories in which have been said about him based upon allegations from children and who are grown women now and other men. The idea that he sucked somebody off, Jeffrey Epstein's brother said that, along with Jeffrey Epstein, somebody Bubba. And when asked, he said, oh, it wasn't that Bubba, but he said he still did fellatio, Donald Trump, with some dude that was named Bubba, or Animal from some people, but I don't know what it is. Bubba is the name. Putting his finger in children to gauge something, to decide how much they're worth. Raping a 13-year-old, raping a 14-year-old, accused of 30-something or more women saying that he grabbed them by the pussies and more. Being charged with sexual assault, found guilty, and the judge says literally you can call it rape. Yep. In Bergdorf's. How many times do you have to break the law? We didn't even get into all the other shit, the fraud, the nonprofits. How can somebody so derelict, somebody that's so corrupt, be loved by people who say they love Jesus? Cognitive dissonance. They can't admit the evil because it makes them evil. And they will never disconnect from their belief. Although, how do you get into heaven ignoring Jesus and God and pretending that God and Jesus would love devils? Cognitive dissonance. I can't associate with that because God, he'll kill me. He'll do this. I got to admit that it's other way so I can give myself an idea that maybe I'll make it into heaven. How when you never come to God or Jesus and say, I repent of my sins? Your sin is to support somebody who does something that Jesus and God will go against. You can't get into heaven, so to speak, if you're doing devilish shit that it tells you not to do in the Bible, but you are allowing it. You're saying it's okay. You're attaching this person and you're telling us that this person is God-like. Again, that cognitive dissonance. I don't want to believe because if I do, what does it say about me? See, I'm a person who loves to live in facts, right? Because I want who I am to be represented, not somebody else and what they do. Who I am, my morals, my standards stay intact. I don't go to cognitive dissonance land when it comes to things like that. When things say about me, I don't think about every time a black person or a person of color that may look like me done something. I don't attach him or her to me because I wouldn't do those things. People who do attach themselves and therefore have to believe something or come up with a fake belief system so that it doesn't attach to them. Can't face reality. That's why all of you people out here that are listening to me, you believe in facts because you have a North Star that you will not cross. They no longer have that North Star. They've replaced it with something else that they think is the North Star because That's the only way they become good people. That North Star has to be replaced, and it has to look just as good and just as holy as yours. And that's why we have this big difference, this big divide, because what you're staring at is the actual North Star. They're staring at Satan's star and calling it the North Star. It helps you better understand their mentality, that you're screaming into the wind, telling facts to people who just can't accept them. They see you, they understand you telling the truth, but it hurts so much that they make up something else, to the point where after a while, they can't tell the difference between facts and fiction. You can literally give them a fact, show them the receipt, and they will ignore it because that has to be false. And so they'll tell you right in your face, that receipt, false, it's made up, it's liberal, it's woke. Terms to deny reality. And when you ask them in return, okay, my receipt is not good, where's your receipt? They don't have one, never will have one. Why? Because their receipts is their feelings and their makeup, who they believe themselves to be. The moral fiber they believe they're attached to. I believe in law and order. How? Donald Trump breaks the law. Ah, you're liberal. An easy way to escape reality is to label somebody something. Woke, liberal, immigrant, whatever. Label them bad so that when I'm called bad, I just call you something that we all, this group of people in a cult, believe is worse. Liberal, woke. That excuses it, but never a fact. So that's why we're yelling into the wind. They'll never accept it because, again, they can't accept facts. That's why I look at these debates with a Democrat against 20 Republicans or some shit. It's entertainment. And what it really is sad. It's mental illness. These people have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. They literally come up with crap to make themselves feel better. They'll bring you a fact, but the fact works toward the truth. And then once it doesn't work for them because they've construed it to make it work for them, they're like, oh, well, let's move on. You've seen it. Soon as a Democrat or a liberal or a person who's attached to facts bring up their actual stats instead of the bullshit they were fed and tell you a source, they skip to another topic. Okay, what about this misinformation? Oh, you got facts on that too? Okay, what about this information? They disconnect. They run away. They hide. They tuck tail because they know at this point in time, my being, who I am, is being attacked, not the facts, who I am. And I've attached myself to alternative facts. I've attached my spirit and soul to lies. I've attached myself to a white Jesus. I've attached myself to all fakeness. And once I get confronted with facts, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. My feelings get hurt. That's why they get upset about true history. Feelings get hurt, disconnect. You're attacking me. No, we're telling you facts and you feel attacked because you don't want to attach the truth to reality. You want to attach to your feelings, and your feelings can negate fact at any given point. You run and tuck tail. Almost always you see them get froggy. And you don't know what froggy means. They want to jump. They get froggy with their terms of facts until they meet their match. And when that match says this stat, US.gov, this.gov, this.gov, and theirs is Ben Shapiro said it. Before Charlie Kirk got killed, he said it. I'm like, oh, okay, but where'd you get the fact from? Donald Trump. Those aren't facts. You're just a liberal. You're just woke. That's their response. To be honest, it's mental illness. These people are mentally fucking ill. They literally can't associate with fact because they've attached themselves to bullshit. They've disassociated themselves. And so when they hear it, it don't feel good. And therefore they shut off. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it because, I'm trying to hurt somebody or disrespect people. I'm just sick of the problem. And the only way we can be able to solve this, in all honesty, what I'm learning and what my, I told you earlier, I had an epiphany. I'll come to that in just a second because I want to end what I was talking about with Maxwell and Howard Lutnick, these two, and then I'll get to the cognitive dissonance thing I said I want to give you guys at the end. Let's go ahead and get to today. James Comer and Representative Biggs had a little press conference after the unredacted Epstein files, whatever. This is what they had to say about that.
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This is obviously very disappointing.
Was Ghislaine Maxwell put under pressure to stay silent today?
I have no idea.
I'll just add one thing that the attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing.
Okay, now here's the thing about that. Why did Representative Andy Biggs just dig that statement out to give cover for Donald Trump and Bill Clinton? That's what Ghislaine Maxwell had to offer. Why was that even said? Why did it have to be out there? We're going to get Bill Clinton and his wife coming in to do their own thing. Why do we give a shit about what she said about them, that they weren't culpable? Because James Comer and you, Mr. Andy Biggs, are bringing in the Clintons so that you can grill them and try and make it seem like one of the Clintons, if Bill Clinton or Hillary, had something to do with Jeffrey Epstein. But you are oddly trying to clear Clinton before he gets in front of you. See, y'all don't understand how this shit don't make any sense. It makes them culpable because of the way they're acting. They're literally, this is the same party that went after Joe Biden's son with no fucking evidence. I mean, none. They had a computer, yo. And they was going after everything that this man stood for. Him having sex with other women, him being in drugs, showing him naked. None of this shit had to do with anything he did. They were full force trying to tear this man down. And if you are of my age, as seasoned as I am, I'm 55. I know how much the Republican Party hated the fuck out of Clinton. So them giving cover and niceness and niceties, this shit don't make no sense. They have tried to put these two behind bars for decades. And now he came out and gave cover for Trump and Clinton? It makes no sense, yo. Why would he share that information? He shouldn't have. But he wanted to put it out there for America to hear. I'm sure she said more probably incriminating or out of the pocket shit than that. And for somehow, some reason, he allowed that shit to come out of his mouth as if he was telling us something that we should have heard. Why? An agenda. Because that sure in the hell shouldn't have came out of his mouth. They hate the Clintons. And somehow they got love for him. Even Donald Trump. Lock her up. Lock her up. And, oh, they're good people. I like the Clintons. When they decided to come to the Congress and want to have it in public, have it record, let the world see. Jane Comer over here, his blockhead ass over here sweating to death. No, I don't think we should do it. They're really good people. I don't want to go in front of people. I don't want people to see it because they want to control the narrative. They want to get them behind the scenes and then come out to the microphone and tell a complete, utter lie as a story oh, we think that they need to be investigated more, and spend millions of our dollars going down a path that means nothing other than to distract America from the fucking truth, just so that Donald Trump can escape responsibility. And if Bill Clinton is a part of this, him too. But here's the crazy part. Bill Clinton's out here. If he is a part of it, this is one bold dude that would literally say, I'm going if you are a part of it. He out here, I put them all out, put every file, every one of them. And that has scared Donald Trump to literally give compliments to the Clintons. Even Hillary said she was smart. Jesus Christ, they must have some shit on this man. How do you say somebody's smart that you've been wanting to lock up for years and said, crooked Hillary? Now she's smart. And you like them. Odd. Very odd. But that's the situation that they are in. And James Comer, Andy Biggs, more Andy Biggs in this situation, is out here trying to, run block for Donald Trump by mentioning Clinton as well. Because as he had just said, Donald Trump, he wouldn't have got that much validity out of it. He had to say both to kind of see like he's fair and balanced. I'm just reporting what I heard. No, you're not. You're reporting what you were told to do. Donald Trump went on this, I like the Clintons, and lo and behold, Andy Biggs is out here. Oh, I like the Clintons. Y'all hated them. But when your life is on the line, the same thing with these girls who were raped and sold, and even babies, from what they say, unalived, even by Donald Trump, allegedly, all of a sudden, your whole idea shifts once Donald Trump shifts. They're nice. I like them. Exonerate Donald Trump and Clinton together. Andy Biggs. All right. Now, we got Comer in that same conversation. People asked the question about Lutnick. Why don't you call Lutnick? Because Lutnick says him and his wife went over to Jeffrey Epstein's house, which is about 6 to 8 feet away from his house. They go in, they take a tour. He sees a room, opens it up. He thinks the dining room, it's a massage table. He's got a massage table in his own room. What's going on? How many massages do you get? Whatever he says. And then he goes, the right kind. He leans into him, the right kind, while his wife was there, whom he makes it seem as though his wife heard it, which again doesn't make sense that he leaned in because he was trying to keep it quiet and keep it safe. Why would you lean into him if you weren't trying to just tell him and not tell his wife? So his wife heard it too, I guess. So they both walk out. It's time to go. And then when they walk out on the way from their 6 to 7 steps to the crib, we're not going back anymore. He's gross. He's crazy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Again, guys, we all done seen movies. We done seen the 40-year-old virgin. Ladies and gentlemen, watch the 40-year-old virgin. You will see what guys, not all guys, but most guys, I would say, the way we talk when we're talking about things of this nature. If he ain't gonna get a massage, dudes would have been like, oh shit, you get a massage over there? How much you charging? They're not, and if it's kids, a whole different story. But it's grown people, like, oh, you get a Russian massage. Why do you think they have these bathhouses? I mean, these things aren't broke. They got a lot of money. Why are they making a lot of money? Because they do this shit on the regular. You can go to Vegas and get them. You can go all over. You can get them in LA. Come on, in your state, you can get them. They're all over the fucking place. And this dude's like, oh, it's gross to get a massage and a happy ending. I think we be saying this shit in movies. Happy ending. And this dude, oh, it's just so gross. You're gross. Howard Lutnick, we can look at you and see you're a creep. Just the way you talk. You're talking about leaning in. You do that lean in shit. So yes, you're talking about yourself. You know you've been over there and you gotten a massage before. Because you said that was the first time and the last time you talked to old boy. And now we got you in emails, hundreds of them. I want y'all to understand something. I'm a person who's cordial. I have friends. You know what I'm saying? I got people I love in my life. I'm a social person. You know, I was a social butterfly in my life. All that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a content creator. I talk to my mutuals and things of that nature. I don't have 100 fucking emails with no soul on this fucking planet. Not my brother, not my mother, not my cousins, not my nephews, not even my fucking kids do I have 300 emails going back and forth with somebody. Not my business partners. Don't have 300 emails. So miss me with the bullshit when you say, oh, I never talked to him because he was gross. So you knew he was gross from day one, but continued to have conversations. And mind you, this man literally said, I didn't have no personal relationship with him. I didn't have no business relationship. I didn't have no philanthropic relationship with him. Yet you had business and philanthropic relationships with him. He needs to be brought in. He needs to be brought in. And this is what they asked him. Are you going to bring him in? And look what happened. He put himself right in the middle of it too.
Does the committee have any plans to subpoena Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, given the revelations
We're
about
going
his
to try to get
relationship?
these 5 nailed down. We've got a lot of very important people we're trying to bring in to answer questions. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize the 5 that we have on the books.
How are you jeopardizing the other 5? I mean, this is what I don't like about journalism, because the minute he said that, I'm like, how do you jeopardize 5 other people by adding another person? Or you think that if you add him, somebody else is going to drop? Dude, it's called a subpoena. They go to jail if they do not follow it. So you're just going to wait? Dude, when they had Joe Biden's son, they had multiple subpoenas out and tried to put people in jail if they did not come. This man's trying to tell you, this blockhead bastard's trying to tell you, oh, we got to wait and see if the other 5, we don't want to have a problem. You don't have a problem with the other 5. You don't. If they don't show up, you try your best to put them in jail or sue them. Next. That's when you know these people are bullshitting. Why do we have people who bullshit as our leaders? These should not be something that people can escape. And whatever he represents, what city, state, whatever he represents, they need to get on his ass about this shit. You can't just escape by saying, oh, I don't know, it's so much work at one time. Then quit if you can't handle the job. I mean, do you see people who work at McDonald's, they see a fucking school bus come and they're like, shit, we got school buses coming, I quit. Or do they step the fuck up and do the job and make a gazillion fucking burgers and chicken nuggets to get the fucking job done? That's exactly what they do. They step the fuck up and do their job. And they get paid crap per hour. You get a shit ton of money and you bitch and moan about doing your fucking job. Quit, you little blockhead bastard. Quit. I ain't got time to hear money-making, crying babies. You're a fucking millionaire and crying about doing your fucking job. It bothers the shit out of me, man. Do your fucking job and shut up about it. Quit the whining. Because I guarantee you, you get somebody working at McDonald's and you tell them this is their job, you'll get better work out of them than you. Because they're going to do their fucking job. They're going to meet the demand. You're trying to control the demand. Tell the demand that they're not demanding it. You don't really need that. Yes, we do. Not really. You're fired. That's the way I look at it. Do your job. And when I was talking about James Comer, when I call him a blockhead bastard, I ain't going to take it back either. Anyway, that is what has been going on these past days and weeks, especially today. And it's just, to me, when I look at it today, like I told you, I had an epiphany. My epiphany was on trying to better understand these people that just can't accept facts. It boggles the mind, and you know me, Mr. Straight Facts. So I'm like telling you fact, and I'm thinking that you're gonna get somewhere with it. Well, with people with actual logical brains, yeah. With people who aren't lost in the sauce, yeah. But with people in this country that say they aren't, whatever. They're not racist, they're not biased, they're not this, they're not that, but they really are because they don't want to see the facts. That is what I realized today. That's something for me that changed how I understand why this conversation has felt impossible for so long. And I wrote something about it. It's just explaining myself because it was kind of hard to kind of put in. You guys kind of heard it over this past hour or so. So I'm gonna read it. We've been trying to explain racism, injustice, and bias as if the problem is a lack of logic or information, as if people just need better facts, better arguments, better evidence. I'm guilty. I be trying to revise this shit to try and figure out how you gonna get it. How you gonna get it? What I gotta say to get you to understand it? Who I gotta associate to get you to? That has been my MO, and it's been driving me nuts. So, but it's not what we're actually up against. That's not what I've been fighting this entire time. Educating people about facts that accept them and actually go do their own homework. Yes, that's what we've been doing, and we've been doing a great job. But to expand on that, to finally get people to understand, to wake up and realize that your world is being fucked up and you're attached to the ones who are fucking it up. How do we get to them? Not to agree on our ideals, our thought processes, to agree on the fact that America is falling the fuck apart. And what do we do about it? Even if we have differences of opinions, what do we do about it? Because they are actually going toward a world of destruction, but not seeing it because it's attached to who they are. And they don't think they're bad people. And not to say that they are, but they don't think they're going down that bad track. They think we are. So the real problem is what we mentioned, cognitive dissonance, and more specifically, how people protect their identity when their perception of reality is threatened. Most people don't consciously decide to be unfair. Some, but not most. What they do instead is attach themselves to something, an identity, an institution, a role, a group, an idea of who they are. You see how the people who are going through this cognitive dissonance have attached themselves to these organizations like Erica Kirk now, but Charlie Kirk's organization, Ben Stein's organization. I think Ben Stein is an actor. And Ben Shapiro, his organization. Either if you go to even Candace Owens' situation, they've tried to find their own pocket of these organizations to belong to. The organization that's changing history as we know it. What's her name? Candace Owens read about. She was like a voiceover for people trying to teach people that Christopher Columbus discovered America and racism was for a reason, and it helped America and it helped black people, figure. It is so messed up, but they attach themselves to it because it makes them feel better. It explains it better that they don't hurt, not realizing that they're hurting other people by trying to find a way out of responsibility or accountability for something that their people did. It's the cognitive dissonance thing, right? So most people don't consciously decide to be unfair. What they do is instead attach themselves to something, like we said, identity or group. They say to themselves, I'm a good person. I support law and order. People like me don't do things like that, the things that they say they disagree with. Once that attachment is formed, the mind does something powerful and dangerous. It starts defending attachment instead of confronting reality. So when reality shows up and says something you're connected to caused harm, the mind panics. You see how that happens when you watch these debates. When they find out that they're in the wrong, they panic and they start changing the subject. And they start saying something's not fair. Then they start calling you all these names. Like, instead of giving you another fact, you going with a fact, I go with a fact. No, the debate is I give facts, you give your feelings, and you start to go outside of this fact to fact ratio. You're going fact to feeling ratio. Your feelings are, that's it. They become facts to you. Not because it hates the victim, and that's why their mind, they panic, but because accepting the truth would mean rethinking who you are, who they trust, and how the world actually works, as opposed to their mentality of what they think it works. Like when black people say that this country is racist, and then you have people who are leaders that are even black will tell you that the country is not racist, just so they can appease those people who will be turned off if you tell the truth, i.e., Kamala Harris saying that the country's not racist. Why? Because she didn't want to turn off white voters. She knows this country's racist, but she can't say it because she guarantees herself not getting a shit ton of white people not voting because their feelings get hurt because they do not want to face facts. Because it says something bad about them. And even if they're not racist, it still says you allow it. You benefit from it. You don't fight against it. And therefore, that hate comes up. But they don't think of it as hate. They just think of it as she or whoever said it, she or he, that person of color. They don't attach the color person, but it is a person of color. They don't agree with my ethics, my thought process. They're too woke. The woke is they are too real. They have to tone down their realness because my feelings can't accept those facts. My feelings only accept you giving me a pat on the back even when I fuck up. Even when I have messed up ideologies, I want you to give me a pat on the back because it makes me feel good. That's when logic gets twisted. And instead of asking what happened, the mind asks, how do I explain this away without breaking my identity? That's why people dig into a victim's past. That's why they search for exceptions. When I say dig into a person's past, when George Floyd was murdered, there were people who literally dug into the past of George Floyd just so they can associate themselves with the person who killed them and therefore justify a murder that had nothing to do with his past, even though they don't even come to the conclusion that what he got killed for had nothing to do with his history, because the person who killed him didn't know his history, didn't know him from Adam. All he knew was a black guy. But because they see someone looking like them, they got to justify the reason for him doing it, because they can't just see evil look like them. So they have to distance themselves from it. We got to make the black person evil because white person's a cop. He can't be wrong, and he's white. You even get people of color going with authority and trying to literally negate black people. They separate themselves from the blackness. Oh, black people commit crimes. Well, we all commit crimes, black, white, Latin. But then ask black people like a Candace Owens. She was one of the first black people I saw that distanced herself away from blackness and ran with authority. And authority in this country is mostly white supremacy. And if you want to break it down even less than like white supremacy, policing. Knowing that a lot of cops are crooked, you go with the idea that there are some good ones and you automatically give this person the status of good because they're an officer and they're white. That cognitive dissonance. It happens to us all, the all races, but it becomes a situation of what you put in front. What are your moral ethics? What do you believe in? And that's the problem. What do you believe in, and how far are you moving away from your North Star? Do you believe in law and order? And if so, you believe in with, let's say, with Venezuelans, due process? Yes, you believe in due process. Ask yourself, do you believe in due process? And you say, yes, I do. But why, when it comes to Venezuelans, so many Americans break away from what they truly believe in? They believe in due process for themselves. Now, why they don't believe in it for Venezuelans? Because how Donald Trump and all these people who are racist have been dehumanizing them. And how people have been taking that dehumanization and dividing themselves up, saying people who look like that are criminals. They're not like me. I'm God-fearing. And so whenever they get anybody Venezuelan, these people have no problem putting them in the criminal or disrespectful or the rapist column. They're not holy people. They're on the opposite side, even though you don't know them. Because you've attached yourself to an ideology, not to due process and to the letter of the law. That's how it's so easy for Donald Trump to go into these streets in Minnesota, even kill white people, and have people justify, even white people, justify their murders when it's proven just by looking at the tapes it was not justified. As I said before, they that's why people dig into the victim's past. That's why they search for exceptions. That's why they say it's not about race. And there's more to the story. They always say these things, even when the story is clear. Renee Good's murder is clear. They keep saying there's more to the story, right? Alex Preddy, clear as day. Slow it down and it tells itself. There's more to the story for them because it says something about them. If they allow it to be true, then it's like, oh shit, libs have been right. These people have been right, and I hate them. I don't want to give them a win, so I'm going to stay over here in Delulu land because there's people over here who like me. And if I believe the same way they do, I'm a part of that clan. Otherwise, I'm on this island by myself because I don't like Democrats. And if I'm on their side, then my people hate me. I don't have a belonging anymore. I'm attached to the belonging, not to the fact. That's why Democrats will say, Ro Khanna. I'm like, yo, you should have named some names. I held him accountable right now. I didn't attach myself to a party. They can't hold any of their people accountable, not even themselves, because they're attached to this cult. It defines them. It puts them in a club that without them, they're on an island alone, so they believe. Hope this helps you better understand it. Hope. We've been fighting uphill in what I consider a mudslide because we keep aiming at people's conclusions instead of the attachment underneath them. You can't argue someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. Let me say that again, because that's a really good statement. And I hope you can use it. It's like, you can't argue someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. What we've been using is logic and facts. They didn't arrive where they're at through logic and facts. They arrived through belonging, through loneliness and finding someone who loves them in a certain party, through cliques, through feeling like cultish behavior. They are attached at the hip with the ideology and the acceptance. That's why they go to Trump rallies. It is a time for them to get together and mingle, to say what's up to my homie from New York and Chicago, because I don't have friends where I live. I'm not connected like that. I get connected going to these venues with like-minded folk. So again, you can't argue someone out of position that they didn't logic themselves into. Their position is emotional self-preservation disguised as logic. For those in the back, their position is emotional self-preservation disguised as logic. And here's the key realization. The moment someone identifies with the person or system causing harm, they stop evaluating the situation objectively. They defend first, rationalize second, and deny last. That doesn't make them monsters, although some of them can be, don't get me wrong. That's why you get some people who believe in the same things, but they can't decipher them. They can't separate themselves from the belief that this person over here is a racist. You say you're not a racist, but your partner in crime over here hates racists, but white. And you don't, but you have the same thought process on policies, on ideas, on people. They're the people who want these immigrants gone. They're ones who want the criminals gone. There are the ICE agents that don't give a fuck if they're criminals or not. They want anybody non-white gone. But you guys believe in immigrants going. And you can't see that they're doing it for racist reasons, evil reasons. You're doing it for, oh, my job, and none of that shit is real. So these racists have suckered them into believing that there's some huge problem in America that we just can't get past until these racists exorcise white people, other people, anybody but white people out of the country under the guise of criminals. Do you understand that the people they have detained, over 400,000, do you understand that 15% of them actually have committed crimes? The remaining 85 have not. Not one crime. So when you break that down, I believe, excuse me, 56,000 are bad, 344 are innocent or non-criminals. 344,000. Do you understand? 344,000 people are in detainment camps in this country that have never committed a crime, but have been gathered up. And people saying, oh, I want to get rid of criminals and all I want to get rid of. You guys are aligned with these racists and you think you got the same plan. But they've suckered you into believing in this fear when all they want is to get rid of people of color. And they don't care who they got to take out to do it. Even Renee Good or Alex Preddy. And don't let it get missed on you that a lot of these people who are out here with masks on trying to take people out, they're Latin. Some of these people are Latin that are out here harming people in masks. It's crazy as shit to think that a Latin person and a black person, I've seen at least one or two black myself, put on a mask to go out and do racist shit. They're looking at the money, supposed to be getting a shit ton of money, even though they aren't getting paid. And they're looking at their ideology of, I can't stand these people. Those are real numbers. 15%, 56,000. The rest of them are sitting in there that are innocent as fuck and do nothing wrong. Many of them were following the law in which we told them to follow. Many of them were caught while working at a job and can't even talk to their lawyers or family because more than likely they're there for no reason whatsoever. And Donald Trump wants his numbers to grow. He gives a fuck about due process. So the fight, I'm going to finish this. I think I've already said this, but the fight has felt endless, not because justice is unclear, but because asking people to face injustice often feels to them like asking them to dismantle themselves. And most people will protect their identity long before they protect the truth. Until we understand that, we'll keep shouting facts at defenses and wondering why nothing moves. That's the true problem. They're defending their truth, which is not truth. It's who they believe themselves to be. It is their attachment to a group, an organization, a belonging to something that agrees with their ideologies, and they found a home. And whatever that home tells them to do, even if it's against their own moral or ethical code, they'll do it just to continue to belong. Because standing outside of this, they go back to living on an island alone, where nobody paid attention to their conspiracy theories, their QAnon ideologies, their disconnection from reality. They finally found a core group of people that believe in the insanity and attach it to their feelings. Once we see that, everything else finally starts to make sense. I hope this makes sense to you now. I hope after I read that, it makes sense to you now. And for people who already were there, I get it. But it was something that I had an epiphany about today. That said, I'm thinking about this wrong this entire time. I've been going off on these people and been mad because I can't stand liars. And I'm yelling into the wind. I understand, democracy is more important than my particular feelings or my understanding of the actual facts. It's more about we the people. Do we really want the country that we've always dreamt of, good people, to get along, to love no matter what race, color, creed, to enjoy each other's culture, not to be blind to it like, I don't see that you're black. Yeah, you do. But you should be able to appreciate it as much as I can appreciate you being white, Latin, Asian, whatever. We aren't going through life with blinders on. We're going through life with appreciation and love and respect. It's not hard. It's not a competition. But we've been trained that way. And we're going to have to untrain ourselves in many ways. So for us to not necessarily get, not liberal, but MAGA or Republicans on our side, it's not about that. We want to get back to where we can agree to disagree on some shit. And how do we get them to break from this cognitive dissonance that Donald Trump and his minions, Steve Bannon and all the others, have built on purpose? They created this through Breitbart, through Fox, through News Nation, also I got News One, whatever news. They created this monster for white supremacy. And if we don't we don't separate ourselves from that and get the people who are in this cognitive dissonance to wake the fuck up, we're going to lose this country. Not necessarily to them, so to speak, but lose the heart of it to where we will have a civil war, because we're not going to let it go. We're not going to let this thing that we don't put 250 years in just disappear. We're going to have to fight for it. And maybe it's not, fisticuffs. Maybe it's not weapons that have to come out. Maybe it's strategy that we need. Maybe we need to focus on how we break away from that cognitive dissonance and bring light to the truth without pointing fingers, but showing the results of our thought processes, where the world's going if we continue down this path. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I've been trying my best to figure it out. But today, I figured out, finally, why these people are the way they are. And why what all my mutuals and myself have been doing doesn't work. It's great therapy, but it's not a solution. And I'm solution oriented. So we're going to be working on that. I'm going to be working on that with Avid Solutions. but it's been crazy throughout the day. I'm gonna end. Hopefully that helped, but I'm gonna end with a good message. I mean, he isn't like a mutual. He's a mutual, I guess, and we doing the same thing. But of course, he's been doing it in mainstream broadcast. I was doing it mainstream, local, and some broadcast when you talk about like news in my career. And you know, Don Lemon got arrested. He got out the same night. He came out and had a few words to say right after he got out, and some things that shocked him. But he went to this human rights, I think, campaign, and he had a speech. He's been on a really good run of staying on top of this, and you know, still going through it and having a lawyer. And usually, when you get, you know, a trial or a case or something like that, in his situation, a federal case, you know, mom's the word. You just shut up, and your lawyer say, don't say a word, don't say nothing. And so he's like, you're not going to shut me up. And he's out speaking and doing his thing. And kudos to him, because we do need to keep talking, even if they try to threaten the hell out of us. Because, again, America's worth it. I know it's had its crazy past, but when I talk about America, I'm talking about Americans. You good people out there. Us good people that want a better life, not only for ourselves, but our friends, our families, for each other. We, the good people that are of America, we need it, and we deserve a better America. We deserve the one in which some of our ancestors came here as immigrants, and my ancestors who came here as indentured servants and enslaved people. We deserve a better country, and we deserve to break down the lies and start building this country up on truths, no matter how hard they are to accept. If we don't face facts and truth in some way, shape, or form, we're going to destroy this country, this experiment. And again, maybe we don't need to blame people as much, more so as to show them a mirror of what they're doing, not only to people of color, but to their own children and family members, by riding with these billionaires and rich people who just don't care about them. They use them as a tool to keep dividing and destroying what Americans have always wanted. To be able to come to this country or be a part of this country or be an American and have every opportunity that it has offered to them by doing hard work, making it a better country, having a good family, doing all these things, everything that this country has to offer. Everybody wants to be able to take part in it. And we've learned that this country still has its evils. And if we can't face them, it continues to live. If we don't get these evil men and women, it appears, that Jeffrey Epstein type of people, that we don't get them out or root them out of this country in some way, shape, or form, we're doing a disservice to our children, our future grandkids, our future great grandkids, because they will be in the same situation if we don't face it and if we don't exercise it. Thinking that, I think it was Jim Carrey said, exorcise the demons. I don't know who was it said that. We literally need to exorcise the demons out of this country. And it starts with accountability, responsibility, and recognition of what's right and what's wrong. Where's your moral standing? And that should be your North Star. And don't waver to the left or to the right. Stay on that North Star, and I believe this country will come back even stronger than it ever was before, because we've never had a situation where we all have tried to work toward that North Star together. That's my feelings. So we're going to listen to Don Lemon say what he had to say. We're going to get up out of here. Love everybody for being here. Let's go ahead and listen to Don Lemon's statement.
When I walked out, I was surprised by the statements that people had made, by the support that I had. I felt the solidarity of people who understood that this moment was bigger than one story, one journalist, one controversy.
And he would be right. This is bigger than anything. And we need to work together as a unit, some way, shape, or form, just toward doing right. Whatever you believe to be your belief. I believe in law and order. I believe that, in due process. I believe in the First Amendment, Second, all of the amendments I believe in. I believe in our Constitution, right? Whatever you believe in, stick to that. Don't let any group or organization take you from north. This is our personal compass. We all kind of have that compass, and we need personally, not responsibility to me or to anybody else, but what's so tripped is that if you stay on your North Star, we'll all be going the same direction. Because as humans, we want all the same thing. I ain't gonna say there's some evil people, but I'm talking about for good people. We want these things, these good things, right? No matter what religion you belong to, you want to have a good life. You don't want people to, unalive. You don't want to harm people. You want to love people. You want to be respected. You want to have a good job. You want to have a good paying job. You want to be in a house or apartment or whatever it is. These things that you want and how you determine a good life is dependent upon. Most of us are on that same plane. And if we stayed on that North Star, we'd be arriving at a country that we've all agreed to have, a more perfect union. But we got many people, they sway away from their North Star. If you believe in not cheating and not harming somebody, not disrespecting somebody, not bullying somebody, then never leave from that North Star, and you'll be doing a service not only to yourself and your family, but to America, the place that you say you love to live in. That's how we get to a better place, I believe. And that's how it'll stay. But we got to first agree on what our North Stars are. You ain't got to agree with me, but I'm talking about with ourselves, what they are, and stay on them. To be honest, I'm working on something for that personally so that I know that I'm always on my North Star, that I'm always focused on doing the right thing instead of being swayed left and right because of an emotion or because of somebody, how they made me feel. Say, what's my North Star? Let me stay on that. That's my way of thinking about it. But anyway, you guys, you have a great night. Take care, Dennis. I didn't see you. Have a good night, man. Be safe. DJ, moderator, love you, appreciate you. I see Jazzy in here, moderator as well. Love you, appreciate you. All the people being members and subscribers, I appreciate you because I can't do it without y'all. I mean, I can talk, but ain't nobody to talk to about it. But I want us all to move toward that personal North Star. And I guarantee you we'll all be working toward the good, trying to make it a better place. Because the cognitive dissonance and fighting with people and arguing with people, it just ain't going to work. Especially seeing as how we know why they're acting that way now, for the most part. All right. You guys have a great night. Thank you, Vera. Have a good night. Rude, I see you. Prayer still lifted for you. Who else? Let me see. Son Drew Park. All right. You guys have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow again about, different things. But now I'm more into the mindset of, we need to focus on the we thing. You know what I mean? How are we going to make this work? How are we going to save the country? How are we going to work toward getting people to better understand where we stand? And our Avid Solutions thing will be on coming up soon. I'm trying to get it up because what happened. I got pushed back because of some family issues, but we're going to get it going. All right. So much love to y'all. I'll see you when I see you.